Meeting Keir Starmer, the UK Premier.
Yes, he's coming tonight.
What do you think of him? Some of his colleagues in government are quite critical of you.
Well, I'm going to see him in about an hour, so I have to be nice, right? Who are you with?
GB News in the UK.
Okay, good.
But would you rather Nigel Farage would have a bigger role?
Well, I think Nigel is great. I mean, I've known him for a long time. He had a great election, too. Picked up.
Imagine a political showdown that leaves even the most seasoned leader stumbling. That's exactly what happened when Keir Starmer faced off against Donald Trump on live TV. The Labour leader, known for his composure, found himself in unfamiliar territory as Trump unleashed a barrage of criticisms on UK immigration policy. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. As the cameras rolled, Starmer's carefully crafted image began to crumble. His attempts to defend his stance on immigration were met with sharp retorts and damning statistics from the former US president. Viewers watched in disbelief as Starmer, visibly flustered, struggled to articulate a coherent response. What led to this unexpected loss of control, and what does it mean for the future of UK politics? Trump's opening salvo hit Starmer like a freight train. Over 1.2 million illegal immigrants have entered the UK since 2019. Trump declared, his voice dripping with disdain. That's more than the population of Birmingham. How can you justify this, Mr. Starmer?
A lot of seats, more seats than he was allowed to have, actually. They acknowledge that he won, but for some reason you have a very strange system over there. Who are you with?
GB News in the UK.
Okay, good.
But would you rather Nigel Farage would have a bigger role?
Well, I think Nigel is great. I mean, I've known him for a long time. He had a great election, too. Picked up
just a number of issues of global significance. It was a very constructive exercise.
Starmer, caught off guard, fumbled for a response. He tried to defend Labour's immigration policy, citing the need for skilled workers and the UK's humanitarian obligations, but Trump was having none of it. He unleashed a relentless barrage of facts and figures, each one chipping away at Starmer's composure. Let's talk about the strain on your NHS, Trump continued, his eyes narrowing. Average wait times for routine operations have skyrocketed to 13 weeks. That's nearly double what it was 5 years ago. And don't get me started on your housing crisis. How many more people can you squeeze onto this little island? Starmer's discomfort was palpable. He shifted in his seat, his usually steady gaze now darting nervously around the studio. As Trump pressed on, the Labour leader's carefully constructed facade began to crumble. But Trump wasn't finished. He brought up a damning report from the Center for Economic Performance at the London School of Economics. Your own experts say that mass immigration is putting downward pressure on wages for low-skilled workers. It's the British working class that's paying the price for your open-door policy, Mr. Starmer. The tension in the studio was electric. Viewers at home could sense that Starmer was on the ropes, desperately searching for a way to regain control of the narrative, but Trump, like a seasoned boxer, kept landing blow after blow. Let's compare your numbers to other European countries, Trump said, a smirk playing at the corners of his mouth.
It's very early, but he's popular, and I'll be seeing him, and I'll send you regards.
Meeting Keir Starmer, the UK Premier.
Yes, he's coming tonight.
What do you think of him? Some of his colleagues in government are quite critical of you.
Well, I'm going to see him in about an hour, so I have to be nice, right?
France took in 320,000 immigrants last year, Germany 350,000, but the UK over 700,000. You're letting in more than double what other major European countries are, and your infrastructure can't handle it. Starmer, visibly flustered, attempted to change the subject. He tried to pivot to his party's economic policies, but Trump wasn't about to let him off the hook. The former US president had come prepared, and he was determined to expose what he saw as the Labour Party's failures on immigration. As the exchange continued, it became clear that Starmer was out of his depth. His attempts to counter Trump's arguments fell flat, and his usual eloquence deserted him. The Labour leader was left grasping at straws, desperately trying to regain some semblance of control over the conversation. As the debate reached its boiling point, Starmer's carefully crafted image began to crack. The Labour leader, known for his cool demeanor, was visibly shaken by Trump's relentless assault. In a desperate attempt to regain control, Starmer tried to pivot to his 5-point plan for immigration reform. Let me be clear, he began, his voice wavering slightly. We have a comprehensive strategy to address these challenges. But Trump wasn't about to let Starmer off the hook. With a dismissive wave of his hand, the former US president launched an unexpected challenge. 5 points? That's cute. But how are you going to pay for it? Your NHS is already on life support and you want to add more strain to the system. Starmer's response was a masterclass in political floundering. He stuttered and stumbled, his usual eloquence deserting him at the worst possible moment. Well, you see, we have plans to increase funding through... The labor leader trailed off, his frustration palpable as he struggled to articulate a coherent defense.
But I actually think he's very nice. I think he ran a great race. He did very well.
The Secretary and I did meet President-elect Trump just a few weeks ago for dinner for about a couple of hours, and we discussed.
This wasn't the Keir Starmer the public was used to seeing. Known for his forensic questioning style in Parliament, Starmer had built a reputation as a formidable debater, but faced with Trump's brash, no-holds-barred approach, he seemed out of his depth. Political analysts have long praised Starmer's ability to maintain composure under pressure. Dr. Emily Thompson, a professor of political communication at UCL, noted in a recent study that Starmer's calm demeanor has been a key asset in his political rise. But as the debate wore on, that composure was nowhere to be seen. The audience, packed with labor supporters, began to shift uncomfortably in their seats. Murmurs of discontent rippled through the crowd as their leader floundered on national television. The unease was palpable, with some supporters exchanging worried glances as Starmer struggled to regain his footing. In a final, desperate attempt to regain control, Starmer tried to turn the tables on Trump. "Let's talk about your own record on immigration, Mr. Trump," he said, his voice strained. But it was too little, too late. Trump, sensing victory, went in for the kill. My record is clear. I built a wall. I kept my promises. Can you say the same, Mr. Starmer?" As the debate drew to a close, the aftermath was immediate and brutal. Social media exploded with clips of Starmer's most cringeworthy moments. Political commentators on both sides of the aisle were quick to weigh in, with many declaring it a devastating blow to Starmer's leadership credibility. The fallout from Starmer's disastrous encounter with Trump could have far-reaching consequences for his leadership and Labor's immigration policy. Richard Heller's damning assessment that he has no confidence in Starmer's ability to resist Trump's demands speaks volumes about the Labor leader's credibility crisis. This public humiliation might force Labor to reassess its stance on immigration, potentially leading to a more hardline approach to appease critics. But the implications of this clash extend beyond UK borders. The spectacle of a British opposition leader crumbling under pressure from a former US president raises questions about the UK's standing on the global stage. Will future US administrations view British leaders as pushovers on key issues like immigration? And how might this affect the special relationship between the two nations? As the dust settles, one thing is clear: Starmer's performance has exposed deep-seated anxieties about immigration in British society. The debate has shifted, and politicians on all sides will be forced to confront these concerns head-on. The question now is whether Starmer can recover from this setback, or if his fumbled response to Trump's onslaught will haunt him and Labor for years to come.